Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Armstrong. How are you?
Good. How are you? It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. Here's my business card.
Oh, thank you so much.
Please have a seat.
Here's mine.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much for welcoming me to Bangkok. It's a beautiful city.
No problem. And would you like something to drink?
No,
Would
I'm
you
great.
like some green
Thank
tea
you.
or something?
Oh, you're very sweet.
good?
Thank you so much.
How do you like Thailand so far?
I love it. I was here quite a few years ago, but it's great to be back. And I'm actually going to take the next couple of days to sightsee.
Oh,
so
that's
it's a great opportunity
that's great.
to get some
Do you have
pleasure in.
anything planned already, or you're
not
just
really. I think I'm going to maybe try to plan something tonight for the next couple of days in terms of tours.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
That's great. I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So yeah, I'll just introduce
Yes, of
myself
course.
really quickly. So I am T.S. Lee, the VP of Lee Medical Device. I'm the son of Mr. Lee, as you know, the founder
Yes.
of the company. I've been working with the family business for 6 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, so I really have a very comprehensive knowledge of the business. I've done work in sales, in finance, and my latest role was in business development. So I've had the opportunity to really get to know more our suppliers and our clients as well.
Yeah, great.
So yeah, how about you?
Yes, so as you know, my name is Pat, and I'm the Director of International Strategic Market Research, and I came to Med Device from my MBA program. So for the past few years, I've had a couple of roles, but I think this opportunity is really exciting because I've spent a lot of time analyzing overseas opportunities to do a joint venture. So this is kind of the dream, and especially since Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson had such great discussions, it's great to kind of build off that and realize the opportunity that's ahead of us.
Yeah, of course. This is a very exciting opportunity. I'm glad that my father and Mr. Thompson met here in Phuket, and we're excited and looking forward to working with you.
Definitely, and I think too we both have very different strengths, so a collaboration will be great in the region.
Yes, of course. Well, for today's agenda, I was thinking to discuss 4 specific points that are very important to us.
Yes.
So those are first, how the decision-making process will be handled in the joint venture. 2, the staffing, so how we're gonna work with the staff here for the new sales office.
Yes.
We are going to cover also the profit distribution and then the conflict resolution mechanism.
Excellent.
Do you have anything in mind that you would like to cover today?
Those were actually the same points that I was briefed on, so we're very much aligned in terms of how we want to move forward.
Okay, that's excellent.
And then in terms of process, do you want to cover everything individually, and then we'll go kind of point by point and see what we come up with in terms of discussion?
Yes, I think that'll be better. Maybe if we kind of get stuck in one of the points, we can move and then
that's great.
go back.
Sounds perfect. Sounds
okay,
perfect.
so let's start with the first point then, the decision-making process. So from our side, since the new office will be here in Thailand and we're trying to develop the market for high-tech equipment and especially for the Thai and also the Southeastern Asians, we were thinking that the decision should be made, of course, in consensus between our company, so my father and also Mr. Thompson, who are the heads of both companies. So of course we're going to have a general manager in this office.
Yes.
But he will be able to make the decisions for the day-to-day task, let's say. But for important decisions, strategic decisions, we would like that both my father and also Mr. Thompson will make the last decision.
Okay.
For that. What are your thoughts on that?
So I don't have kind of something very far-fetched from what you just described, but I'm thinking that major decisions can be taken by the general manager, along with majority approval by the board. And Mr. Lee, your father, and Mr. Thompson will select board members. There'll be 5 of them. And Med Device will appoint 3 of them, whereas Med Lee will appoint 2, just based on the the profits that are, or the money that's being put into the business. So just to kind of look at, just to make it equal in terms of the capital we're putting up.
Yeah, well, I really like the idea of forming a board of directors to make decisions.
Yep.
But I don't quite agree on following the capital distributions for the decision-making mechanism, because yes, you guys are contributing with 60% of the capital and we're contributing with 40% of the capital.
Yep.
But since we're developing the market for the high-tech equipment here in Thailand and for the Asian market, we have the implicit knowledge of the market, we have the expertise, so we think that we are contributing a lot in that sense as well. That's why we think it's fair that we share the decision making process of the company. I would agree. Our proposal was to just for the general manager to make the decisions on a day-to-day basis, but then for strategic decisions, my father and Mr. Thompson. So that was our proposal first, but I really like the idea of having a board. So I'm good with that. But in terms of the distribution, then I would say that it should be half and half to be fair, because we know the market, we have the relationship with the doctors and also with the hospitals.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say to that is I understand you have implicit knowledge of the agreement, but we're the ones bringing machinery to market for you. So I think, and again, I think it's not us versus you, it's us in terms of the partnership. So maybe what we can do is we can leave that point till later. We can agree that major decisions be taken by the GM with voting of the board. Would you be okay to that? And then we talk about the makeup of the board afterward. Is that something that would be okay?
Yeah, we can go back to that point.
Okay.
But yes, I agree that you or Med Device is contributing with the machinery, like you said, like the high-tech equipment. So you guys have the knowledge and the expertise on the technology side. But for this joint venture to be successful in this market, we have the knowledge. We know the market. We have the relationships. That's why alone, we're better off together. So we're
for sure
is bringing one specific type of knowledge and expertise. That's why at this point I think it should be like both, to be fair, but we can come back to this point. But for now I really like the idea of having a board. Okay,
and then just as a last point, in terms of the voting on the board, we think it should be one man, one vote, majority rules.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we have a few pieces of that puzzle. We can come back to that at
I really like the idea of one vote per each person, but then again, even if we split the board in having 3 representatives from your company and 3 from our company, then anyway, if it's one vote
for 100%,
the best decision will be made regardless of whether the representative is from this company or from the other.
Well, I think at the core of this, we want this to work, and it's not about us versus you. It's about us. Exactly. So I don't think board members will vote strategically based on who the mandate's coming from. It's about the success of the venture.
They have to look for the best interest
of
the joint venture.
Definitely.
So, do you want to come back to this point? Or
why don't we come back?
Or do you agree with the 3 members of each company at this point?
Why don't we come back to that in a bit, and we can see.
Yeah, let me just get a pen, please.
Of course. Yes, of course.
Okay, perfect. So the second point then, there is the staffing.
Yes.
You know that we're a family-owned business and we'll be in the market for a long time now. So most of our employees right now are family members, close relatives, even friends of the family. And we based our business and the relationship that we have with our clients and our vendors in trust. So how we're thinking to structure the staffing of the new office is have one general manager.
100%.
And
agreed.
in this case, we believe that it would be from our team, because yes, like you guys are providing the technology, we have the knowledge of the market, and this is key for the joint venture to be successful.
Okay.
At least at the beginning, we need, for it to be successful, we need the lead, one of the lead team members to lead the office.
Okay.
Because not only because we have the expertise in the market, but also because we know the language, we know how, we have the relationships, again, like I was mentioning, with the doctors here in Thailand and also in Southeast Asia. We have a very good relationship with hospitals. So I think to really be successful in this joint venture, we need to think that relationship building is super important here in Asia, and we have that already.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, at least, we want to lead this part, and then we will have an assistant to the general manager. So we are proposing, my cousin Ian, as I mentioned before, most of our employees are relatives of the Lee family. So he will be the assistant and also the financial analyst. Then we will have a sales representative. For this, we're thinking that we need someone who speaks the language first, who has the knowledge of the market, who has expertise, who knows, who has a client portfolio as well, someone who the clients can trust. That's why we're thinking that we're proposing a very close friend of the family. His name is Aji. He's not only a good friend of the family, but he has all the qualifications that this role needs. And finally, a secretary.
Okay.
And in this case, it's not a key role, to be honest. And so we are open to interview other candidates.
Yes.
As well, I'm sure that you guys would like to send an executive from your team as well. So that's how we're thinking to structure the staffing for the office. What do you think?
So I have something else in mind. I can actually draw it out for you just so that it's much kind of easier to visualize.
Okay.
So we were thinking a GM at the top.
Okay.
There is a manager that works very close with the GM. We were thinking this person could come from your side. Whereas this person who's responsible for the results of the venture come from us, just because we're so process oriented, just to make sure there's smooth sailing. We were thinking we'd employ the GM, you could bring in the manager to, provide feedback on the ground, do like on the ground work in terms of client relationships. Then we would go down to 4 salespeople that are divided up by region. 3 would come from your side, 1 would come from ours, along with 2 office assistants or secretaries, and our GM or the GM would be provided their own secretary. They would bring them with them. So, and the thing is I understand the nature of the family business. You've done very well, so in your mind I understand why change something that isn't broken. But from our side, we don't really approach building a team through family, just because we think it can maybe cloud the judgment of the seniors with the juniors, just because they may get there may be favoritism, or they might be entitled to things that they may not deserve. So I understand it works for you, but from our side, we don't really employ family members. So that's just where we stand on the issue.
Okay. Yes, and I totally understand, and I know what's the culture of your company, and of course you're very successful at it. But since what I was thinking, before going into the details of the structure, since we already have some very qualified, highly qualified employees now, we were thinking to work with them because they're very they have a lot of expertise, and they've been working, they know the business, they've been working with us for such a long time. So that is key, I think, for the success of the joint venture. What we can do is leverage those resources first, and then as the team grows, we can, of course, have like a regular hiring process with not only family members or relatives, but with the most qualified professionals in the market. But I think it is very important that we leverage the resources and the expertise that we have in our company.
And I do understand your best
yes.
people are probably connected just because they've risen up the ranks and have done well. So I don't want to discredit the expertise they bring in. Especially, I think it's your brother who's interested in joining the.
It is my sister.
Your sister,
who
okay.
will be graduating from school. From school soon, and she would like to join the company. But again, if she is qualified, then I'm sure that she can join the family business. But if we find any other person who is more qualified in the market, then why not include them in the recruitment process? But for now, I think for the general manager, financial analyst, whoever we have right now, we should leverage because they have the relationship, which is the most important piece of developing the market here in Asia. So going back to the structure that you're proposing, I like the idea of having more sales representative, but the general manager, would he then report to the board?
Yes, so the general manager would be in charge of all the major decisions and then would go to the board where majority would be needed to exercise some of those decisions, based on the overarching decisions that require more eyes.
Yes.
And again, I think we can definitely talk about this structure, but I think it is important to have 4 representatives.
Yes.
There's so much potential in the Asian market. I don't think we want to put all our resources just to Thailand, but to really expand as much as we can.
Yeah, and I agree, and I like the idea that we provide 3 representatives. You provide 1. Of course, this person would have to be qualified. We can give him training here from the resources that we have, just to make sure that he has all the tools and is trained that he has all the tools to be able to do well in his role. I like that part. I would just change that our manager or the person from our team reports to the general manager. I don't know about that. I would prefer to have maybe 2 heads of the office, maybe one more focused on technology, which is your strength. And that would be a person from your team, and the other one focused more on business development, so in relationship management with hospitals and doctors. And I think we have that expertise, and that strength is ours. So we can provide a person from our team to do this role. So we can have like 2 heads who report directly to the board of directors. Which structure will discuss later. But these 2 people will report to the board of directors, but one will be focused on technology and the other one on business development. Do you agree with that?
The only thing is I want to be careful of is if we go through this, I do think we need to pick the people strategically, and again, not based on relationship but by expertise.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. But if the person happens to be someone from the Lee's family, then it should be elected, because what we are proposing, or from our structure, is that I would be the general manager of the joint venture office. I've told you already my experience here. And I didn't mention anything, but I also did my MBA in the US.
Great.
So yeah, I think I'm the I'm good. I'm good with this position. I think I'll be able to lead the office. I've been working in business development, so I have a very good relationship with both vendors and clients, and I have a full understanding of the business as well. So it would be me who would be the head of the office from our side. Of course, you would pick the person who is the most suitable professional to lead the technology side of the office here in Thailand, and we both would work together.
Because it would definitely need to be a collaboration.
Exactly.
And, I don't want one team undercutting the next. It's not about sides. It's about, again,
but it's
us as
good
a team.
Exactly. But it's good that our roles won't be overlapping, because one will be more focused on technology, the other one more on the Asian market and business development. And so yeah, we will be working together as a team to make this successful, and the strategic decisions would be made by the board and ultimately approved by Mr. Thompson and my father.
So then with that, although I understand it's about, you know, growing the best team, if we bring you up to a partner, would you be okay not having any other family members in the team currently with the 4 salespeople?
Well, the only family member that we were proposing was my cousin Ian as a financial analyst and my assistant, and he wouldn't be any of the sales reps. As a sales representative, we're proposing one of our friends, but like I said, both are very highly qualified professionals, and we trust them in their experience. They're very good at what they do. We're not picking them or choosing them just because they are close to us or they're a family member or a close friend. They are probably one of the best professionals in the industry, and of course you can get to meet them before, but we really want them in the team because they are the best of the best. Like I said, if the team has to grow in the future, we won't be picking only family members, but it will go through our regular recruitment process. We will have the best professionals interviewed. But for now, at least to start and to make sure that we're successful here in Thailand and Southeast Asia, we need these 2 people in our team.
And just as a note, this is kind of a sore point for us just because it's not how we operate day to day.
Yes, of course.
So would it be with kind of giving this to you in terms of hiring your cousin Ian, and do you think we could do the board division of 3 board members are appointed by Med Device and 2 by Lee, just so that there's kind of since there are more family members on your side in the team, we have kind of a representative, you know, a proper representation of Med Device on
and we
the
would
board.
have the 2 heads of the office working together, right?
So you with that you'd have 2 heads working together. It would be a partnership where you would be collaborating with them daily, although with a very core set of competencies. So there would be collaboration, and then with the bringing in of your cousin and possibly friends, then I'd be willing to move forward with that if we kind of have the board made up of 5 members, 3 appointed by Med Device, 2 by Lee.
So the board will make the strategic decisions, but at what point those decisions will be in charge of Mr. Thompson and my father? Because what we're proposing is that ultimately Mr. Thompson as well as my father will have to agree with the decision made by the board. So how were you thinking?
Well, what I was, and just in terms of the general decision making, so you and your kind of
the
co-partner, you would make all major decisions, and so day to day we don't want to kind of trample on your ability to make decisions, but for major decisions it would go to the board for a vote. If, let's say, and then this brings us down to conflict resolution, if a decision cannot be made within the board, then Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson will discuss. So again, there's an extra layer. If the board can't agree and is it aligned, then it would go to Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson. So they would be kind of the last gate in terms of decision making.
Okay, but this is only if
the board can't come to a proper consensus and they don't agree, and there's a red flag that goes up where, again, conflict resolution is needed.
And were you thinking to include Mr. Thompson in the board of directors, or not at all?
From the discussion I've had with Mr. Thompson, again, Mr. Lee can be included if he so wishes, but we were thinking that there would be 2 appointees by Lee Medical, and that's up to your discretion into who you want to appoint. So if Mr. Lee wants to be a part of the board of directors, he is more than welcome.
Okay, perfect. I'm just worried that since the joint venture or the Asian market is so sensitive to trust and relationship building, and since you guys are just coming into this market and don't have the knowledge, the expertise, and the experience, and we do, I'm just worried that strategic decisions won't be made correctly if we have this disproportionate number of board members right now. That's why we're thinking more to have like a balance and have 3 members from your team and 3 members from our team, because ultimately decisions will be made in the best interest of the joint venture.
100,
right?
No, and so, I definitely want that, and I don't want to create a dynamic that puts you at a disadvantage. That's for sure.
Yes.
Well, if let's say we were to do 3 members from your team, 3 members from ours, in terms of appointing the board of directors, would you be happy with having a GM as the head we appoint? You would be working independently. It would just be sharing information, but put you as a manager in the...
So that would mean that the general manager will ultimately make the final decision.
But again, he or she will listen to you because you are the regional expert. So it's not as if we're trying to take away your right to speak or your right to exercise power. It's really just kind of to create more of an easier way to work with one head.
Yeah, exactly. But before going into that, just to agree on how we're going to appoint the board members, I think we should define what are the strategic decisions that the board will be making.
Yes.
So we're clear, because maybe, yes, we can do 3 and 2, but depending on what are the decisions that I as a general manager or one of the general managers will be allowed to make.
Okay.
Right? So in terms of daily operations, the business development, everything like the day-to-day operation, and
they won't touch that.
They won't touch that.
No.
So what were you thinking of? I mean, what type of decisions the board will be making? Like, let's say, bringing new type of equipment, expanding into other markets in Asia, or what type of?
So they will be very high-level decisions. There will be no day-to-day decision making. So, for example, you are speaking to a new hospital, kind of building up a new relationship. They have nothing to do with that. It would be, let's say there's financing issues, or we need a new set of eyes on certain decisions being made that are very high level, that we could kind of complement the team with their outside knowledge and perspective. So again, there would be no trampling on your day-to-day decision making.
Okay, perfect. So if I agree that with the composition of the board of directors in 3 and 2, if they will be in charge of financial issues, but in terms of the capital structure or the financing, and also about technology, because of course you guys are the ones who have more expertise in this high tech, so you're the ones who can make who can have like a say on this. But in terms of business development, relationship management, everything will fall under the office, the joint venture office.
100%.
Okay, perfect. All right. In that case, I would agree to have the board split in 3 and 2. Just making sure that it's going to be decisions regarding financing and technology.
100%.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect. And again, with that one man vote.
Yes.
Perfect.
And then we also agree with the structure of the office being 2 co-partners, one from our team, one from med device team.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have 4 reps,
Yes.
sales reps. 3 provided by the Lee's team, and 1 by you guys. I just want to make sure that the person that you bring in will have certain qualifications that we can discuss later.
Yes, and I think we want every sales member to have the same qualifications, be put at to the same standard. So we want to utilize the best people. So I'm understanding that they may be family or friends, but moving forward, we want to have a different approach for hiring.
Yes.
Okay.
We agree on that. And besides having the 4 sales rep, we'll have the financial analyst, who will be my cousin Ian.
Yeah.
And one of the sales rep will be our friend Aji, who is one of the best sales reps here in Thailand.
Perfect.
And moving forward, as you mentioned, we will change a little bit the approach on how we're gonna recruit team members.
Excellent.
Okay.
And then so then our so you have we can do co-presidents instead of general managers.
Yes.
So co-president. Our co-president will bring in an assistant of their own, and then we require 1 more assistant who will work with each of these sales teams.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
perfect.
Okay.
Okay. That's perfect. So staffing, we're happy with.
Yes, we're good with decision making.
Excellent.
And staffing.
Yes.
So the first 2 points were done. This is great.
Perfect.
The third point, then, would you be okay with touching on conflict resolution first?
Yes. So, as I alluded to earlier, any disputes that arise with the 2 co-presidents, with the board, agreement can't be reached. We would like decisions to be referred back to Mr. Thompson and Mr. Lee for discussion. And if with them kind of talking it out and no resolution can be made, then they will be resolved through the California court system or through international arbitration.
Okay. Well, we would like to start saying that we hope that we don't need any conflict resolution in the future.
And I don't think we will, because again, we have very aligned ideas of what should be achieved. This is basically putting down in paper, worst comes to worst, what will happen. So we just want to be properly prepared if it gets to that, which I don't think it will.
Yeah, I agree. Here for conflict resolution, what we would like to propose is that if any conflict arises, then we would like to use consultations between Mr. Thompson and Mr. Lee first, because usually if, let's say, for strategic decisions, if the board of directors doesn't reach an agreement, then how are they going to be the ones who try to resolve the conflict?
For sure. Yes.
So what we're proposing is, first, any conflict that will be addressed by Mr. Thompson and Mr. Lee. Yeah. And if they cannot reach an agreement, then we can use the go to court and all that. Of course, we want to avoid that. But I think it would be better for the conflicts to be addressed by Mr. Thompson and Mr. Lee as the mechanism to resolve any conflict. Would you agree with that?
So just so I understand you clearly, in terms of any disputes, go to Mr. Thompson and Mr. Lee for discussion.
Yes.
If there is no resolution from that conversation, then we go to the court.
Yes.
Okay. And then are you happy to go through the California court system or through international arbitration if it gets to that point? Just so that we clarify the mechanisms.
To be honest, since our business model is so based in trust and relationship, we haven't thought about it. Maybe that's a legal issue that I would like to consult with our lawyer.
Okay.
In terms of which court we would be using in case we reach to that point. Okay. And at this point, I think we're not in a rush to make the final decisions on every point. Okay. So maybe we can leave this point for later, or when Mr. Thompson meets with my father in a month. I think they're going to meet.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to spur that on you to scare you, because I know it really is about trust and building relationship. I think think just coming from my background with,
Yes, of
you know,
course.
such intense processes, it's really about just making sure that we touch all the points
Exactly.
if it ever gets
I
there.
totally understand your point. I just think that the most important thing is for us to define what the mechanism will be.
Yeah.
So it will be discussions and consultations between Mr. Thompson and my father, which legal court or which country, the international court or the California, which one we will use. Maybe we can discuss it later.
Okay.
Once we consult with our legal department. But for now, we would get the board out of the picture for conflict resolution. Would you agree with that?
So with conflict resolution, maybe we can just, in terms of writing when we report back to our companies, that if a dispute arises that can't be resolved by the board, Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson will discuss to try to come to an agreement. If they cannot come to an agreement, then it will be moved on in terms of, we can say, international arbitration, just to have a discussion going, and we can then ask Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson to decide on the legal process.
Okay, so so what you're saying is that at the end, the ultimate decision will be made, or the final agreement will be made by Mr. Thompson and my father.
Yes.
Because we were just thinking because the board will make the strategic decisions. Most likely, any conflict will arise from the board when they cannot reach an agreement, right? That's why I wanted to get the board out of the picture, because yes, they will make strategic decisions, but if they cannot resolve something, then
it will go up the channel to Mr. Lee and Mr. Thompson.
Okay, so any conflict resolution will be handled by Mr. Thompson and my father.
And then we can put a note in that if no resolution is reached, then the dispute will be resolved through arbitration or a court for them to decide.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that
is
fine.
Perfect. Now, in terms of profit distribution, that's it seems to be our last point.
Yes.
In terms of coming to some type of agreement, we think that no profits should be withdrawn from operations for the first 5 years of the joint venture. And kind of the reasoning behind that is we each have, successful companies, and we want to grow up the joint venture to be as successful as possible. So keeping the business, capitally
independent,
separate and independent from the two others. So we just want to make sure that there is cash to run the business and not kind of taking profits out within the first 5 years.
Okay, well, we were thinking to follow the capital structure, of course, for the profit distribution. But we would like to, in case that, let's say, any of the companies would need cash for either operations of their own companies, and if the joint venture is in the financial position in which profits can be distributed, either of the company would be able to do so, to withdraw profits. Just only if the company is in the financial position to distribute profits to the shareholders. If not, let's say if there's no retained earnings, which I don't think that will be the case, then of course there would be no distribution to any of the shareholders. But what we're proposing is like, in case there's the financial position allows it and any of the shareholders needs it, then it can be discussed again. Maybe it can be brought out to the board of directors, and it can be discussed case by case.
Okay, because the only reason why I want to move away from that, and again, I'm happy to discuss further, but just we don't want this joint venture to be looked at as a piggy bank.
Right.
We want it we really want it to be successful, and we don't want to look at it as a way to fund other projects.
Yes.
And I think, again, going into a joint venture, everyone needs to kind of be focused on the end goal and not worry about financing other projects.
No, and I totally agree. I think the joint venture should be an independent company, and the financing part shouldn't be mixed between all these three companies. But in case something happens, let's say, because we both are investing large amount of money in this joint venture. In a very specific case, I think we at least should leave it open for discussion.
Okay.
Not close the door.
Okay.
Because anything can happen eventually for your company or in my company. We don't expect this to happen. I don't think we will need money from the joint venture, because of course we want this company, the joint venture, to grow. So it's better to reinvest all the money and the revenues or the profits that we get from here reinvested in the joint venture. We agree, but just to, I don't want to say cover ourselves, but just to be cautious on what could happen in the future, both for your company and mine. At least I would like to leave it open for discussion between Mr. Thompson and my father, in case any of them would need to withdraw some profits from the joint venture.
And my only concern about that is, let's say we're in dire straits, or you come up with a situation where you need cash. By taking out that cash, we're still leaving in, or if we take out cash, you're still leaving in your investment, and it just makes the situation quite sticky in terms of the profits and how to properly distribute them, given that certain stakeholders are taking out money but not others.
No, but the profits distribution, if an agreement is reached, it would be for all the stakeholders, the shareholders, not only for both of it. Or for one of them. Let's say 1 year, one of the stakeholders or the shareholders need to withdraw some cash, then we would say 10% of the profits will be distributed to shareholders, but to all the shareholders, not just one of them.
And are we going
to... It would be like just that profit distribution for the year.
And in terms of profit distribution, are we talking about... We're talking about the shareholders, the two companies. So if something is going on with the company, then money can be taken out and used towards that means. It's not personal.
Exactly.
So you know what? I'm happy, to go with that, as long as the situation goes to the board. And again, we can include Mr. Thompson and Mr. Lee in the discussion.
I agree with that. So the profit distributions will be assessed by the board every year.
Yes.
And in case any of the either med device or the Lee medical device company need to withdraw some cash, it will be discussed within the board. And at the end, of course, if they don't reach an agreement, Mr. Thompson and my father would jump in and make the final decision.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we have covered
the
4 points.
And there's nothing else you know?
No, I'm good. I think we're clear on those 4 points.
Definitely.
This is, I think, a very good proposal for my father and also for Mr. Thompson. I am sure they will be able to maybe fine-tune some details, but I think we've done a good job.
But I think we've kind of set us up for success in terms of making sure there's mutual benefit, and the sky's the limit now in the market.
Yeah, for sure. We're very excited and looking forward to starting the project.
So are we.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for hosting me in Bangkok.
And hopefully
it's a beautiful
you
city.
Enjoy the rest of your stay here in the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.